so on to our dumplings. So first we're gonna make our dough, and this is just classic pierogi dough. And I have 3 cups of AP flour, all-purpose, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 egg that I've just wiggled a little bit to break up the yolk. So I'm gonna add the egg here, and now the amount of water will depend a little bit on how big your egg is, but this should be a recipe that kind of works. That's good advertisement. It kind of works, so maybe. You know. So if you're using a stand-up mixer like I am, you're gonna put on your hook attachment, and I'm just turning onto my lowest setting. And I'm gonna add the water, add about a cup at first. And I have a cup and a third, so 1 cup and 1/3 of warm water. Make sure it's warm so it helps the gluten. What does gluten do?
It gets it.
It does this.
Stringy.
So it's starting to pick up the flour of the sides. Oh, you're so cute, Lucy. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. But the dough is on the softer side. Oh, you sad, Lucy? Are you sad?
Lucy, what's wrong?
It's on the softer side, so it's gonna seem pretty wet. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. Can you come closer? So I have a little bit of water left in here, but as I said, this is relatively soft dough, so it will seem kind of on the wet side. So don't get discouraged by that feeling that it's just gonna be too watery. So we work the lumps out of our dough a little bit, just for a few minutes. I'd say about 3 minutes. I have a little bit of water left here, probably about 50 milliliters, so maybe, so just add a cup at a time, or add your first cup, then see how it mixes, and then add a little bit more, maybe tablespoon by tablespoon, and kind of see. But it should stick together and be on the softer side. So on more, I don't want to say watery, but it won't seem dry. You have a question?
Yeah, why do you like softer dough for uszki?
I like softer dough for all my dumplings because when they cook, they're not as doughy. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when you
not as dense,
and I feel like if there's too much dough, they don't taste right, and I feel a softer dough kind of makes that happen. You want to come close and take a look? This is what our dough looks like. And we got the lumps out.
It looks like a donado.
Looks like pizza dough.
A little bit.
Yeah? Been stirring or mixing for probably 2-3 minutes, not very long. And I feel that's done now.
So why do you like a softer dough for like pierogi and dumplings and stuff?
I like it kind of on the looser side because I feel it makes, once it's cooked with the filling, I feel it's not as dense. So it won't be as doughy. Mm-hmm. Like sometimes I feel when you like do this just store-bought dumplings, pierogi or uszka or whatever, they can kind of be thick and doughy on the edges, and I feel this thinner dough kind of doesn't do that as much. So our dough is ready. It looks good. It's springy, and
I see you didn't use all the water, so you gotta kind of be the judge at home. Huh?
Yeah, I gotta be the cook. So start with a cup of water and just let it mix. And if you feel it's dry, add more. But if it combines well and it looks kind of on the softer side, then stop. So I have my measurements in the recipe by cups, which I should I could change it, probably should change it by weight too. So sometimes 3 cups does not equal 3 cups.
Yeah.
So you need to work on that. So be the chef at home that you are. So we're gonna set this aside. I'm just gonna cover it with plastic, and we're gonna set up for making our dumplings. Are we ready to finish these?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a long process, isn't it? Don't get discouraged. Go in stages. Make your filling the day before, make your soup the day before, so you're breaking it up, and have wine too. So
Absolutely. We haven't
my
got
glass
a Christmas tree yet.
my glass is empty.
Okay.
That's not for wine.
I didn't think so. I don't remember wine being in these.
Okay, so our dough rested for a few minutes while we're just waiting on our filling, which is nice and cool in the back. So all there's left is I'm going to take a piece of my dough and I'm going to roll it out on my stolnica. This big pastry board in Polish is called stolnica. I get asked this a lot. And this particular one was made by my dad. I was very happy when I got it from him last year. Everyone should have one, don't you think?
I do.
We're going to be cutting these out a lot smaller than we cut pierogi out, which my pierogi cutter is about 3 inches. And let's see. I guess I can't do 2 things. I can't talk and roll today. I have to do one thing at a time. Good thing I'm not chewing gum. This seems thin enough. What would you say this is?
A millimeter.
I'd say about 2 millimeters. Pretty thin.
Or 1/32, 68ths of an inch. It's thin, y'all.
It's thin, y'all. Like this. Like this thin. And then, so I'm using this this glass.
It's a shot glass.
How wide do you think this is?
Probably an inch and a quarter.
Maybe 1.5 inches.
Inch and a half, maybe, yeah.
So then, this is when you get your kids to come over, or your grandkids, and tell them get to work. I've done all this so far. Come over. Get something with a thin kind of glass. It'll be easier cutting. Or you can get a cutter that is specifically for that reason. I just have this and I always use this size. It works for me. Okay, and we take our excess like this, very gently, very ladylike.
Mm-hmm.
And we add this to, this is not waste.
Waste not.
Waste not. We squish this together and we join it with our other friend over here. And now we take our dough, and this is the trick. So I like to flatten mine out just a little bit more, kind of make it a little bit thinner, and then take a little bit of the filling right in the middle, and just do as much as you feel comfortable you can manage. And this goes right in the middle, and we just fold it like we normally do our pierogi, and gently squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
And then?
And we have this cute little dumpling. Isn't it cute?
It's very cute, but it's not finished.
It's not finished. And then we can kind of leave it on our index finger, between our index and thumb.
Would you stop moving it, you silly goose, so I can see what you're doing? Okay, go ahead.
And then we wrap it around it gently, so these 2 edges meet, and then we just pinch it together. And our cute little uszka is done. It kind of looks like an ear. That's why. That's why we call it uszka. Uszka. And then we take our circle and we put the little...
Okay, one more time.
And don't overstuff these because they need a little dough to stretch to make that. So this may have a little bit too much even filling. Let's squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Make sure the edges are nicely sealed. And then we keep it between the thumb and the index and just kind of gently pull on the ears.
If your husband's help, they might have to use their pinkies.
Yeah.
Because you got big sausage fingers, this isn't gonna work.
And it's nice and thin dough. They're not gonna be doughy. And it may take a little practice for you to get them to be this thin. So just, you know, don't be hard on yourself. Start with however you're gonna do it, and then practice and practice, and it'll come to you. I've probably made, if I had to give an exact number, 1 gazillion uszka in my life. So don't compare yourself to Paul that does it for for however many years now. Okay, so let me go through these, and I shall make enough for serving. How many do we normally do? I think we normally do
36.
about 5.
Oh.
5 per serving, per bowl. So I have 4, one more, and then we'll present our barszczyk to you. See you in a couple. You're gonna work through your dough and your filling and make all of your dumplings, obviously, start to finish. And then you'll cook them all and set them in the fridge for however long you need till you're serving. So to boil our dumplings, we're gonna bring water to boil, and you wanna keep it at low bubble like mine. And to our water, I'm adding a few teaspoons, a couple tablespoons of oil, and a little bit of salt, kind of depending on your pot. And we're gonna drop our dumplings, our uszka, in here, and you're gonna do this in batches to not crowd your pan, so they don't all clump together and stick, and they're hard, or they're hard to get apart. And I normally put them in, and then I take a wooden spoon and I just kind of stir gently around my pot and get the dumplings off the bottom and kind of make them kind of float freely in here. This will only take a couple minutes. So my dumplings are up to the top, and I'm gonna give them another minute just for the edges to cook a little bit more. So without further ado, I'm going 5 per serving, which is normally what I like to do. Do you want to see how pretty they look?
Yay!
And I like that you can see the filling on the inside. I'm gonna move my pot to the back. I'm gonna bring the soup. And when ready to serve, you're gonna bring your soup up to a boil. But we're not gonna keep it there for very long. And to very last, I like to add a couple cloves of crushed garlic, a couple of more pinches of marjoram, probably about a tablespoon. It just does that thing, yeah, that makes it makes your soup taste like grandma's. I always say, like, grandma always did something, and my grandma always did something, and she put a dollop of butter right at the end, and I always say this, it'll create the eyes on top of the soup. You see the little circles of fat. This is thin, meaning not fatty broth. So my soup is done. I should taste it if it needs salt, but I think we are ready to eat. And look how rich. And I'm just gonna do 2 scoops per serving because, again, we have 12 more dishes or 11 more dishes at least coming. So this is how I would serve this at Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's time to start eating. Now let's see if I can.
I don't want to hold the camera anymore.
You want to do the tasting? I'll film you.
You taste first.
Starting with the dumpling. This is lava. And the sweetness of mushrooms and the broth is nice and flavorful. This is delicious broth, you guys. You have to try this. This is #1 Polish soup for Christmas. I know it's time consuming, but it's so worth it. So Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks for watching us. Hope you make this at home. Visit my website, polishyourkitchen.com, for more Polish recipes. Recipe for this in the video description and in my Polish Your Kitchen Christmas edition book. Thanks for watching. We see you next time. Smacznego!